So I'll call this meeting to order. Let's get started, everybody.
All right. Did you want to start with the referrals first, Tim?
Sure.
Okay. I see that we have a guest online.
Yes, I'm actually not Alexis at Genesee. I having a little trouble getting onto the Zoom link, and my sister-in-law has a corporate code or whatever, so that got me on. I'm actually Jake with Marathon Engineering.
Okay.
I'm just here for the Uptown project.
Jake, what is your last name?
Calabrese.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Tim, would you like to start with the Uptown Landing referral?
Sure. Just give me one
Okay.
second here. I'd like to get the agenda on my screen better.
Hey, Jake, do you want to tell us a little bit about the Uptown project?
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, it is located on Parkside Drive and Fire Hall Road, kind of in between. Yep, perfect. And it is roughly going to be currently it's going to be a maximum of 230 single family, about 224 for rent apartments, and 90 townhome. We're in the I would say the preliminary conceptual stage. I would say we're a little bit more than conceptual. We got a lot of the utilities laid out and whatnot. And right now for single family housing, we're falling right at about 220 lots, and that could change a little bit depending on what the town planning board, we're set to meet with them on the 28th of January. So that might warrant some changes, most likely lowering the lot. But yeah, as you can see on the screen, I believe you guys can see that kind of the colored drawing. That is the overall project. We're going to be submitting for what we're going to call phase 1, which is the red up in kind of the top left. And that is going to include 4 apartment buildings, 1 mixed use building, and I believe roughly 60 to 65 single family units. And that is the general overall plan. And I'm sure you guys will see a more detailed plan when we submit for the phase 1, because right now, again, we're just doing the overall to get everyone's comments, questions, concerns out of the way. And then we're going to kind of move from there and then submit phase 1 probably, and hopefully we're looking to submit in February.
Awesome. Hey, Kim, could you show us where this is on the geographic information mapping system? And I'm curious why this came to the Ag Committee. There has to be a reason. Must be close to ag land someplace. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
This is up on the north end of town off of 332. Is that correct?
Yes.
Not too far from Tom Walls, I would expect.
Correct. Yeah, I feel like they're going to have they're going to get a little bit up in customers there.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, Ray's Diner is a really good place to go.
So I used to work at McFarland Johnson back when it was on 332, and it was every Wednesday. I got a turkey BLT from Ray's. I certainly missed working down there. That place is phenomenal.
Okay, awesome.
I could just want one question again, sir. How many lots again is planned for there?
So for the overall plan, for the incentive zoning, our limit is 230 units right now with, I would say, pretty further than conceptual. I would say probably 60%, 70% design of stormwater and all that. We're landing at about 222 single family units, and then the for rent apartments, that's kind of getting worked out now. But the building layouts shown are what those are going to look like. I'm not sure exactly what's going inside, but our maximum is 224 units for the for rent apartments, and then the townhomes has to be it is a maximum of 90, and that's on the south south of the project, and that's probably slated for phase 2.
Okay, so overall, for all of your phases, just to reiterate, all right, limit 230.
Yep, for single family.
Okay. Well, I suppose going back to what Tim's question about why this came across our board, and also going back to what Kim was saying. Yeah, I would also say that this land used to be farmland. I'm not sure during what years, but my understanding is this used to be farmland back in the day. So that might be another reason why this came across our desk. And on a personal note, I can say if this area becomes developed, it will have an impact on my family's operation. What kind of, I could say this. If you are going to build houses somewhere in Canandaigua, this is where I would like them to be. I would like them to be in this contained area where the town has already planned future development. On our comprehensive plan, this is one of the areas where the powers to be at the town figured it would be okay to put future development. And on a personal note, this is where I would like to see future development if there is going to be any, as opposed to it bleeding out into the active farmland. Because what I don't want to see is this kind of development bleeding out into my backyard into very important active farmland. So if you're going to put the development somewhere, this is a good site for it. But it will still come with challenges for producers, including myself. There will be an increased traffic on County Road 28, which is a road that I frequently travel with equipment. So I just want to note that this development, while it is cited for a good area, it will create some extra challenges for the agricultural community.
Okay. So
But-
yes, Tim, you're absolutely right. This is the area that they want to develop. There's a lot of infrastructure that's been put in place to be able to handle a larger population density. And I think that the reason why, if the yellow box is the area where where the building is going to take place, is that correct?
That is, I would say that's the middle. Yeah, it's also includes the land north of the park, as well as I believe it may have another sliver or two to the, it might be that it actually is that lot to the right as well. Yep. So those two, as well as what is to the east or the right of that yellow.
So what are we looking at that's directly north of those planned areas?
One of my neighbors actually farms that parcel to the north.
So I would guess that's the reason why we're seeing this is this is directly adjacent to farmland.
Yeah, but it's right next to active farmland.
Would this restrict, well, what is the land currently being used for right now?
I believe, I don't want to say open space, but right now it's just kind of overgrown shrubbery We looked back on the Ontario County like mapper, and I think it goes back to about 2009, just on the website, and that didn't have any farming. Oh, yeah, perfect. Yep, I don't believe that had any kind of remnants of farm work in that location, but then we looked at some more historical maps, and it was around the 90s when it looked like it was being farmed. So somewhere in between maybe the 90s and 2000 is kind of when it fell to the wayside of being constantly farmed.
Mhm. What does the soil map say the quality of the soil is? Jim, do you know? Can you tell us?
1 second.
Sure.
If I remember correctly, I think they're BD soils, which that might be more for kind of the geotech than it is for farming.
Mhm.
Just a second. It takes a minute to run the report.
No problem. How many apartments in the apartment buildings, Jake?
We're working with the architects right now. We're gonna get that finalized probably in the next month, and then we'll have a defined number for the planning board. And if I had to guess, that may still come to you when we submit for the phase one, which includes those apartments.
Mhm.
I believe that it could be submitted again to you guys from the town, and that will have a defined number. But
Okay.
I heard 80s to 90s per apartment, but that's, again, I'm not 100% on that. We're still working through those.
How many stories is that built, are those buildings?
I think they are 3 stories and they're roughly around 30 feet.
Okay.
Oh.
10 foot per floor.
Yeah. And then there's going to be underground, some underground parking for some of the facilities to kind of alleviate some of the need for parking outdoors.
What are the incentives that you're going to receive for building these properties?
That unfortunately, I do not know those answers off the top of my head. Matt Tomlinson in our office has kind of headed up the incentive zoning. I know one of the big incentives that we are, I guess it would be kind of the opposite, is we're doing quite a few upgrades to I think it's Blue Heron Park, right
Correct.
there. So we're going to be doing some, I believe, bathrooms, and then paving new trails or existing trails, maybe not paving them, but doing kind of the stone dust. We haven't finalized it yet, but that will again be part of the phase one work.
And I could say this before I forget. Of course, this will increase the population of the town, which of course does concern me. But however, I'll just say again, if you're going to build houses somewhere, this is where I would rather see them. I mean, no, the infrastructure here, I mean, that is a place for easy access for, new houses. You've got 332, which is a 4-lane highway, which is right next to it. You've got Blue Heron Park right here, where the people of that community can go and experience the park. And of course, this parcel of ground hasn't been farmed in years. So, as I said, this is an area where, new houses could go, where it would be a good site for it. As much as new population growth scares me, and as much as increased traffic bothers me, if the town's going to increase and grow, this is the area where I'd like to see it grow instead of inactive farmland.
So Tim, do you remember when we were talking about, as opposed to investing in further parkland to provide a fund for investing in preserving farmland in the town of Canandaigua? Do you recall that?
Yeah, a little bit.
So we think that parks are nice, but it doesn't really help the ag community. We have programs where you can have incentives to purchase development rights for existing farmland so that those areas don't come in under pressure for development. You know, as an ag person, I would prefer that as opposed to building a park that really isn't going to be used a considerable amount or see as much value as preserving farmland would in our area. Sorry for the background noise. I've got 3 dogs. It's better to have them here in my office than having them barking at the traffic when it goes by. So,
Tim, I have the soil types on the screen for you.
look at that. Yeah, look at that. So, total acres, it looks like that there's probably like 120 acres or so.
Yep, yeah,
In
right
that
around 100.
one, yeah,
So it looks like that the most of the land in this area is succession shrubland with a Cayuga silt loam. I don't think any of these, well, there's the Candia loam as well and Odessa silt loam. I mean, those aren't bad soils, but I don't think that it's any type of soils of great value. So, I don't think there would be highly productive farmland lost in this case.
Right. And also, going back to the comprehensive plan, the town of Canandaigua has a map of where they want protected farmland and where they want future development. And this particular parcel falls in the area of future development. So I'll say again, this is a good site if you're going to build houses, or if you're going to build, any type of industry or whatever, that's within the town's map of where future development is scheduled.
I agree with you, Tim. So why don't we go ahead and make a recommendation. This is not going to impact or cause farmland to be lost for this development. And you're absolutely right. It is in the area that the town wants to see, housing development to occur.
Yes. Yep. Let's get that sentence. Yep. I agree with that. This area does not represent a loss of active farmland, and it is within the comprehensive plan area of future development.
Perfect. Bob, are you there?
Yep, I'm there. Yep.
Okay, should we vote?
Yep.
No. Sorry about that. I vote that I agree with Tim. I vote yes.
I agree. Yes.
Alrighty. I like that sentence. So our motion passes. That's our vote.
Awesome.
thank you for joining us, Jake.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, if any questions come up, feel free to reach out to our office. Again, my name's Jake Calabrese. Matt Tomlinson would also know very much about the project. And maybe I'll see you when we submit for phase 1, maybe not, but either way, I really appreciate your time.
Of
Our
course.
pleasure. Enjoy your evening.
Yep, you too. Have a good one.
And I can say one more thing, sir.
Yeah.
For the future, of course, we definitely need agriculture. We definitely need farmland protection. But of course, we also need some future growth and development. So I've always figured that all of us need to work together so we ensure both farmers and developers can have good opportunity. I figure good communication and proper land use and management is the way to accomplish those things, because there has to be opportunity for us all, because the greater good needs us both.
Absolutely. I actually live in Dansville, or a little north of Dansville in Sparta in Livingston County, and I definitely agree with that statement. We need both, and there's definitely a way to make both work.
Glad to hear. Glad to hear. And yes, that's a very pretty area.
Yeah, it is. People always ask, they're like, you drive that whole way? It's like, yeah, but when you get home and you pull into the driveway, it's absolutely worth it.
I believe it.
But all right, well, yeah, again, if any more questions come up, feel free to reach out to our office and we'll absolutely answer them.
Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Yep, have a good one.
Righty. We can go back to the first one we have on the agenda, which I'll bring that up.
Oh, Kim, before I forget, should we even, I'm just thinking, wonder if we should have included in our vote for this parcel of acreage that while it is within the future development zone, it will impact agriculture with increased traffic.
Okay, yes.
And while we're adding on to that, we recommend that a fund to purchase development rights for ag land be used instead of continuing to build parks.
I forgot to mention this when the gentleman was when he was on the meeting.
That's okay. So this project will impact agriculture with increased traffic, and you wanted the town to consider a fund for purchasing development rights?
Yes, as opposed to an incentive to develop a park.
Okay.
I think what you're describing, Tim, is the TDR, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Thanks, Bob.
I know when let's see, Sarah, I think, had talked to Labella at one point, and besides just purchasing the incentive for the development rights, you can also have conservation subdivisions that save ag land. Currently, a lot of times they save things like forested areas and things like that, but agriculture can also be saved through conservation subdivisions. And so what that does is it allows the developer to do something like put the houses closer than they're supposed to be, and then it would preserve like a part of the parcel. Um, like I said, most of the time it's been wooded areas or things like that, but it could conceivably be agriculture as well. Just so you know.
Right. I was thinking to myself, one of the reasons why I wanted the information about acreage and how many units building lots are going to be in this parcel is because I'm trying to figure out, how many units can possibly be put there. What should the lot sizing be? Because in my mind, as much as more population scares me, if you're going to develop something, I'd want it to be developed, as much as possible in that area so it doesn't keep spreading. You know what I mean? I'd like it to be as contained as possible. So perhaps, if developers in the town need to build X amount of houses, they can go as much as you can into one parcel so that it, in a way, buys more time or at least satisfies people so they don't keep bleeding out into active farmland.
I think one of the, well, actually, no, the reason why this went to incentive zoning is they wanted to put the housing in, rather tightly,
Mm.
more tightly than would be allowed. And because this is a form-based code area, and, so that's why they went for incentive zoning. And the amenities that they were offering were basically upgrades to the park.
Okay, that's interesting. All right. Uh, before I forget, going back to what you were saying, Tim, about the parks. So what I gather from you is you feel there's definitely enough parks in the town, and I would say that's a fair statement. There's quite a few, parks in the town. I would think that if more houses get built right next to this park, that park would be utilized more. So I suppose that's a plus, that this park that does exist will be utilized. But I can definitely understand what you're saying about we don't really need much more parkland. We'd rather have more push for preserving farmland.
Yeah, I think that they're just mowing grass over there. I never see anybody in that park.
I haven't really seen many people there either. And I've heard of events that happen at Outhouse Park. I feel like that's a park that does get used, but Blue Heron Park, I barely think of it.
Yeah, there's nothing happening over there for sure. And by the way, he mentioned there's going to be 4 apartment buildings where there are going to be 80 apartments per building. That's 320 apartments. And so that's like 1,000 people right there.
That's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people.
And housing is an issue. Um, there is none. None available, that is.
I hear you. And that's why it is exactly what Tim is saying. It's important to
Yeah.
limit where housing can be, built. But having 1,000 people on the roads right there next to where Tim's trying to run a farm is it makes it difficult. There's going to be conflict. There's no question about that. What happens if Tim comes by and spreads manure, right next to the apartment building? People aren't going to like that.
Mm-hmm.
But we do have a right to farm. That's part of farming. Okay.
All right.
Oh yes, good. Well said.
I personally don't know anything about this application, but it looks like somebody wants to put in a private detached garage and they're looking for a setback variance. So it's like they want to put it at 50 feet instead of 60 feet setback.
Oh, Kim, before I forget, do we have to make another vote about adding to that last comment?
If you would like to, yeah, sure.
Alrighty, Tim and Bob, I propose the motion that we add another sentence to the last comment, that the new housing development is cited in a. All right, excuse me here. I'm going to read. Let me gather my thoughts.
You've already got that all down, don't you?
I do.
We agree. We agree with you, Tim.
Agree.
All right. At least I do. I'll let Bob speak for himself. But
Yeah, I agree.
Alright.
Yeah, you said that this project will impact impact agriculture with increased traffic. And you're hoping the town will consider a fund for purchasing development rights as incentives in the future.
Yes. Yep. Yep.
I second.
Now, at some point, you may want to consider either getting on the town board's agenda or writing them a memo or something to, if you want them to, take more action like incentives for agriculture or something like that. It probably is going to take a push from your committee, would be my guess. So it's something you may want to think about.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
So show us where this
Sure.
property is, just so that we do due diligence.
I'm sorry, I don't know anything about this particular one.
Or a guy
Right.
wants to set it back, or not set it back quite as far.
Yeah. I'm waiting.
Okay, my dogs have accepted their fate and are all laying down and being quiet. I pulled
They're
the
good
curtains.
dogs.
Can't see out at the snow plows.
Oh, yes.
They don't like the snow plows.
Nope. All right, so let's see. Hickox Road. Do you want me to back up some?
Yeah, please do, so we can at least see the nearest. 21, I know where this is.
I'm sure it's because you're, the proximity or it's an ag district. I'm sure that's why it got directed to you.
Yeah, this is, I think that the nearest operating farm is Miller's. Miller's are operating a farm in this area. That road is a quick run over to 5 and 20 off of 21, as opposed to having to go down to the main intersection there, right where Pierce housing development is. I don't think it really impacts farming at all.
Are you making that motion?
I make that motion.
Just to reiterate, I was looking through the map. This individual just wants to
Put in a detached private garage. So it's just
yeah,
a
that's not gonna
separate garage building. Yep.
10 feet closer to
Yep.
the road than what.
Yep.
Yes. Yep.
That's not going to impact active farmland. They should let him do that. He can build his addition.
Right.
So
That's
All in
second.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
yep. Aye.
Okay. Did you want any more discussion on this? Do you want me to move to the next one?
I'm all set.
Okay.
Please move to the next one.
Bob, what do you think?
I'm fine. Just moving ahead. That one was pretty straightforward.
Star Road. They're looking to build a single family home with associated improvements in a R130 zoning. Let me bring up the site plan. Well, they must have a big, there we go. Oh, okay. So there's a number of houses over on Foster Road. Let me bring up the
Where is Foster?
Encore for this one.
Yeah.
And I apologize, but I keep my camera turned off because I'm bringing up all these files and there's only so much this poor little thing can do on Wi-Fi.
I should probably turn off my camera too. You can't believe the internet connection I have here is not, it's not that great. Oh, look at that.
So there's a couple, I think there's like 2 or 3 houses that will be in the front, and then I think there's 2 in the back. So it's like a little small development of a couple houses that will be going in this area.
Where exactly is it?
There's Middle Cheshire Road
That's what I thought.
and
That's right.
so Foster is
I-
here.
I remember discussing that when that first came across our table.
Yes,
So-
you have seen some of these before.
So basically, of course, I remember our vote on that parcel was that doesn't impact a loss, that doesn't impact active farmland. But I should have put more emphasis, though, that will impact the loss of woodland. Of course, I don't think saying that is going to stop them from building there. I don't think that's going to stop the town from, making sure they're all approved and whatnot. But it is a loss of woodland, and I feel it should be documented.
You can have that comment if you
David,
want.
Kim, is there another committee that would look into that? It's fine to make the comment, but isn't there another committee that focuses on that?
Yeah, the environmental.
Yep, that's the one I chair. So yeah, we have reviewed this one, just like yourself, a couple of times, these Foster Road projects, and we've made comments on them as well.
Gotcha. And just so I remember it for the future, that committee's title is
Environmental Conservation Board.
Environmental Conservation Board. Environmental Conservation Board. All right. One could argue that that area could be, farmland, because everybody forgets that agroforestry is a part of agriculture. If there's maple trees in there, that's agriculture. If you tap maple trees, if you do any timber harvesting, that's agroforestry. That is a part of agriculture. But since I don't believe anything is actively going on in that parcel, I can't say that it's a loss of active, farmland. And, we had already voted on that when it came across the table. But I just wanted to make a comment again that does represent a loss of woodland.
No, I understand. I know there's different people. There's people that do mushrooms and all sorts of stuff in woodland settings. So it's a possibility.
Mhm.
So did you want to vote on that comment? That it was no impact to active farmland and it will be a loss of woodland?
Yeah, it doesn't represent a loss of active farmland, but it does represent a loss of some woodland. That's what I
I'll
like
second that.
Okay. All in favor?
I,
Yep, I'm good with that.
Would you like me to move on to the next one?
I'm all set.
Okay. You have Middle Cheshire. Let's see what this is. Yeah, Tim, if you ever have questions about the Environmental Conservation Board or the ECB, be happy to talk with you about that.
Alrighty.
This one says they are looking to build a single family residence in the AR2 zoning district. Here's what they're proposing, and I can bring it up on Encore if you like.
Yep. Yes,
Alright.
please.
No, there's a lot of housing on Middle Cheshire, so
don't
Yes.
speed on Middle Cheshire. Do not speed on Middle Cheshire Road.
the town board actually asks the police to spend extra effort there.
I believe it. I haven't received any tickets there, but I've certainly seen a lot of police. Sheriff loves to hang out on Middle Cheshire Road, especially just as you cross over 5 and 20.
All right. So this is the parcel that they want to build on.
Wow.
Ooh, that looks like active farmland.
It does, doesn't it? I think if I remember right, I'll look at their application.
How many acres was it?
1 second.
Like maybe 15, 10 acres. I think 10.
They say it is not currently being farmed.
Really? I wonder how recent is that Encore photo, because that most certainly looked like it was
Yeah.
being farmed.
I 100% agree with you. Let me see. Encore, it says 2024.
So we could request clarification whether the land is being farmed and then reserve our comments and recommendations based on that. But if it is being farmed, it would definitely be a loss of farmland, no question.
I agree.
Okay, so we've got a second on that. Can we vote on that?
Sure.
Aye.
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 So you want clarification if it is being farmed?
Yeah.
Yes.
Or it shows that it is being farmed. We don't have to say that. That's too accusatory. We can just say
Well, yeah.
confirm, that it's actually not farmland. We see that, from Encore that it is being farmed and it would definitely be a loss of farmland.
Okay.
So Also, before I forget, just to double check, who owns that property right now?
Just a second. Would be Cassandra and Zachary Scheid.
And are they the ones that want to build the house?
I do believe so.
Yep, the plans at the title page of the plan showed that that's who it was.
Interesting.
Yes.
Did that property just change hands, or have they owned it for years?
Well, we can look in, I think Encore gives you deed information in the detail report.
Is Route 16, is that Westlake Road?
Um,
Oh,
County Road 16 is Westlake Road.
yeah. And there's Notre Dame is right there.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure for building construction in this area. There's no question of that. It's a great view.
Even from this, it looks like cropland. Let me see.
Awesome.
2023.
Yep. So,
So it was Dawson before that.
who's that?
So in 2023 it changed hands.
That's what it looks like.
Probably in August.
Yeah.
Dawson. So I wonder who was farming it, because even though Dawson owned it, I wonder who was farming it.
Who's farming down on Middle Cheshire Road?
Specifically Middle Cheshire, I'm not sure, but I do know a few names in that area. Of course, there's Rick Burt and Sammy Casella are in that vicinity. See who else would be really close. Don't know if the Millers travel down that.
It's a long way.
Could be maybe it could be Warner. I do not know, but I know that those people I mentioned are in the general area at least.
Well, it definitely looks like a loss of farmland to me.
Mm-hmm.
But we need to ask the question.
And I'd want a clarification. If they were to build a house there, how many acres of that parcel would they be building on? You know, are they talking losing the entire field or just a corner of it?
Looks like the
So
whole thing.
it says that it's, let me get this, 7.625 acres for that parcel. And
How much it was sold for?
let's see. So they're putting in septic behind the house.
It appears that they're using the front half of it, one that's
Yeah.
close, maybe the front 2/3. So probably like 5 acres. There's gonna be no farming around the septic field, that's for sure.
Yeah, especially if if the acreage is accurate, if they're going to occupy 5 acres on a 7-acre parcel, I doubt they're going to leave 2 acres of farmland left over.
You got a new barn going in. It's a big, nice driveway. How many square feet on that house? I bet you it's a big one.
I can,
What is the circle right up there, Kim?
that's their topsoil
Top.
stockpile.
Oh, awesome.
I can't see from that what they have for sizing. Um,
Well, it's better than an 80 apartment building.
Yeah. Yep, I can say that.
I'll bring up the ZLD. Maybe that tells me. Nope.
Just curious, that's all. It's no big deal. We'll just let that go if we could, please. Move along.
So do we want to make another vote that if it is, well, I could say, all right, let me gather my thoughts. Even if that parcel is not being farmed now, it has been recently farmed and would represent a loss of recently farmed acreage. Something that certainly could be farmed again if it's not being farmed right now.
So, even if not farmed now, it has recently been farmed and so would constitute a loss of farmland? Is that what you want?
Yeah, yeah, or farmable land.
Okay. Got it. And is that your motion?
Yeah, that's my motion.
Okay. Perfect. And a second,
Second,
all in favor?
I
Aye.
Perfect. That was the last referral you had. Normally at the first meeting of the year, you vote on your chairperson, your vice chair, your secretary. You go through your rules and procedures, but you're missing quite a number of people tonight. If you want, you could push that to February.
I'd be good with that.
Okay.
We can push that to February.
I think that would be the best thing to do.
All right. Push. So that's just the organizational stuff. So you push that to Feb. All right. There wasn't anything else on the agenda unless you had something that you wanted to talk about.
Well, I could say, Kim, first off, thanks for your time because I know we certainly throw a lot of information at you and ask a lot of questions.
Oh no, that's what I'm here for. So actually, Sarah asked me to be your staff contact. So it's kind of switched from Sarah to myself. So if you have questions or anything you want help with, be happy to give you whatever you need.
we
right.
appreciate everything you do for us, Kim. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Yeah,
And
thank
like
you,
I
Kim.
thank you. And like I said, if there's something you really want the town board to take notice on, maybe there's, whether you talk to them, go to a board meeting or you do a memo or whatever, you may want to consider that just to bring some, additional focus.
Dave is he's been on our board or he's been participating on the board. Maybe we could go to him and ask him to consider that.
Yeah.
Oh, Dave Sauter.
Yes,
Yep.
David.
So yes, I would just, you know, suggest something like that. They have a lot of stuff that they look at, and I think sometimes people that talk loud at them get a lot of attention. So sometimes some other things get lost. So yeah, I would probably suggest thinking about that.
Talking loud.
Maybe not loud, but talking up a little bit so it doesn't get lost in the shuffle.
Can talk soft but very stern. I don't know. Yeah. So it all depends on the persona.
Yeah.
I'm gonna jump off if we're finished up, guys.
Thank you, Bob.
Thanks, Bob.
Good night. Bye.
Have a good one.
Okay, I'm gonna go as well. I wish you all a good rest of your evening and try to stay warm.
Yes, thank
You
you.
as well,
And
Tim.
Thank you.
thanks for bearing with me and my, I'm a greenhorn trying to run the meeting.
Oh,
I'll
you're doing a
get-
great job. Keep it up.
It's all good.
Hey, Tim. Bye.
Thank you.
Have a great night, Tim.
Yep. Good evening. See ya.
Yep.
Good night.
Bye-bye.